Isang mapagpalang Sabado sa inyong lahat. This is Dr. Aquino and welcome to our PATESCU or Philippine Association for Technology and Home Economics of State Colleges and Universities, Incorporated, in partnership with Benguet State University, National Nutrition Month 2024 webinar series. And we are now in webinar series number 1 with the theme, Sa Pipan, Sama-sama sa Nutrisyong Sapat para sa Lahat. So, ang ating pong episode for today for our Nutrition Month ay napakaganda because these are all research-based products na talaga namang tayo pong mga Pilipino at kahit po hindi Pilipino ay makikinabang dito po sa ipepresent ng ating mga speakers. At bago ko ipakilala ang ating mga panauhin, ay nais ko muna magbigay ng maikling introduction para po sa tema ng National Nutrition Month 2024 dito po sa ating bansa. Yan, no? So, siguro ang ilan sa inyo ay nagtatanong, ano ba yung PIPAN? No? So, nais ko pong ibahagi sa inyo ang nabanggit at na-publish na ng National Nutrition Council sa Pilipinas tungkol po dito sa Philippine Plan of Action for Nutrition. So, ibig sabihin po, ang PIPAN means the Philippine Plan of Action for Nutrition. Ano nga ba ang mga estratehiya o polisiya na kailangan po na isagawa sa ating bansa upang ang ating pong problema sa nutrisyon ay maibsan at eventually ito ay mabigyan talaga ng solusyon. Ayan, so nais ko pong ibahagi ang ilan sa mga nabanggit. The Philippine Plan of Action for Nutrition is a policy and plan document formulated under the leadership of the National Nutrition Council to address the nutrition situation of the country. PIPAN is a 6-year strategy or strategic and directional plan to guide stakeholders towards achieving target nutrition outcomes. So maliwanag po sinasabi dyan na ito po ay 6 na taon na pagpaplano or na plano na po ito ng 6 na taon, ano yung mga strategiya na kailangan isagawa ng ating po mga leaders upang magabayan ang bawat isa, most especially yung ating mga leaders, stakeholders, upang makamtan natin ang masayang nutrition outcomes. Dahil lahat naman po tayo ay nais po natin na maibsan po ang nutrition problem ng ating bansa. And ang PIPAN 2023 hanggang 2028 is the 11th of the series documents formulated and released by the National Nutrition Council since 1974. And this is aligned with the ambition natin 2040 and the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028 as well with other relevant international and national plans and commitments. So nais ko pong ibahagi sa inyo ano nga ba ang sinasabi nilang problemang pangnutrisyon ng ating bansa. So sabi nga po, according sa report ng National Nutrition Council, ang Filipinos suffer from the so-called triple burden of malnutrition. Ibig kong sabihin yan, kung saan ang ating pong bansa ay dinadanas po ang triple burden of malnutrition in the form of undernutrition, kulang po sa nutrisyon, overnutrition, sobra naman sa nutrisyon, and micronutrient deficiencies. Kulang po sa mga bitamina at mineral, no? Affect a significant proportion of the population. Actually, tagal ng problema ito, pero at least ngayon, mas natututukan, no? Para ho ito ay masolusyonan. Pag sinabi pong undernutrition, ito po yung nangangahulugan, ito po yung stunting, pagkabansot, wasting, and being underweight affects children under 5 years old, preschool children, school-age children, and adolescents. Yan po ang trend ngayon. Mga bata talaga ang nakikita na mayroong ganitong problema. And many pregnant women, mainly adolescents, are likewise considered as nutritionally at risk of giving low birth weight babies, while adults and other older persons suffer from chronic energy deficiency. And at the same time, overnutrition in the form of overweight and obesity is increasing across all population groups. So, obvious naman talaga na marami nga po ang medyo kung merong kulang sa timbang ang mga bata, itong ating mga adolescents and adult population ay medyo naman po mas mabigat kaysa sa normal na kanilang weight. Yan. And then of course, micronutrient deficiencies in vitamin A, iron, and iodine are still present in vulnerable groups, o lalong-lalo na po sa ating mga pregnant and lactating moms. But considerable improvements in the last decades in reducing child undernutrition and micronutrient deficiencies had been noted, but the pace is slow compared to other countries. So in fairness naman po, meron naman daw nagawa yung ating mga programa na nung mga nakaraang taon, pero kung i-compare daw to sa ibang bansa, mas nabe-behind ang Pilipinas. Then along with malnutrition, food insecurity affects 33.4% of households, or 3 in every 10 households have moderate or severe food insecurity. Masasabi talaga natin na marami pa rin mga kababayan natin na talagang hindi makakain ng gusto sapagkat maraming factors yan. At alam naman natin, isa dyan ay ang poverty. So yan po ang summary ng food and nutrition situation ng ating country. Ngayon naman po, inilabas din po ng ating National Nutrition Council ang mga 34 provinces having the largest population of stunted children and subsistence poor, with consideration for their economic capacity as a basis of the requirement for financial support. It covers 799 municipalities, 73 cities, and 22,725 barangays. So mahalaga po ito na impormasyon para sa atin dahil alam natin na ang bawat isa ay kumbaga mayroon tayong parte sa pagtulong. So ito ho yung mga PPAN priority provinces. Nangunguna na po dyan ang probinsya ng Leyte. Marami daw po dyan ang talagang ang mga bata ay bansot or underweight, at maaring marami dyan po ang talagang kulang ang sustansya ng mga households. And requirement for financial support is high among the following provinces na kailangang matugunan o matutukan ng ating government. At pumapangalawa dyan ang probinsya ng Sulu. Then third is Negros Occidental. Fourth is Negros Oriental. Fifth are Samar. Then Lanao del Norte, Masbate, Palawan, Basilan, Sorsogon, Eastern Samar, Northern Samar, Surigao del Sur, Zamboanga, Sibugay, Antique, Tawi-Tawi, Cebu, then Camarines Sur, Quezon, Zamboanga del Norte, Zamboanga del Sur, Maguindanao, Bukidnon, Iloilo, Cavite, Bulacan, Cotabato, Oriental Mindoro, Pangasinan, Rizal, Davao del Sur, Nueva Ecija, Isabela, and Pampanga. So makita po natin na karamihan sa mga probinsyang ito ay nasa Visayas and Mindanao. Yan po ang nakita kong dito trend. Pero dito sa mga nasa huling-huli ay nandito na sa bandang Luzon. So yan po ang sitwasyon ng mga 34 provinces na kailangan i-prioritize ng ating government. Ngayon po ay meron pong mga ilang desired outcome targets. Ang atin pong gobyerno upang matugunan po yung mga problema na nabanggit kanina. Kaya nga po ay ina-advocate po ng ating government ang tinatawag na healthier diets, na kung saan ang mga Pilipinos should consume and demand adequate, age-appropriate, nutrient-dense, diverse, affordable, safe, sustainable diet. Ibig lang sabihin niya na healthy ang ating mga kakainin. Yan. At syempre, age-appropriate, yung tama sa ating edad. Ayan. Kaya nga naman, ang government ay merong naibahagi na sa atin yung Pinggang Pinoy since 2016. Sinasabi doon, ano ba ang kailangan kainin ng isang bata, isang adolescent, at mga may edad na, at yung mga, of course, yung growing kids. Yan. And marami tayong episodes niyan sa Usapang Pagtahanan na pwede nyo balikan, matutupo tayo. And then we have better nutrition practices na tinatawag na nais pong i-emphasize ng ating government para maibsan po ang problemang pang-nutrisyon. Ang sinasabi po dito, pag sinabing better nutrition practices, tayo mga Pilipino should adopt behavior and practices that contribute to optimal nutrition, health, and well-being. Ibig sabihin, yung mga healthy lifestyle sa pagkain. Ayan, at mga kumbaga, pag-uusapan mo natin yan ng mas detalyado sa mga susunod nating episodes. Magandang pag-usapan ito. Ano nga ba ang mga Filipinos na kailangang i-adapt natin in terms of behavior and good practices when it comes to better nutrition practices. Pero isa na po dyan ay ang pagkain sa tamang oras. No? At of course, yung tamang pagkain. Yan. And then improve access to quality services. Well, Filipinos benefit from well-coordinated, inclusive, and integrated quality nutrition and related services. In fairness, our government are doing a lot to help our Filipinos, most especially in the barrios, na to reach out for them and give them optimal health services and nutrition services. Like for instance, yung mga feeding programs. But apart from that, marami pa pong mga nutrition and health-related services na ginagawa ang ating government, but then siguro mas mai-intensify po ito dahil ito pong ating mga gagawin together with the government ay talaga namang seryosong-seryoso yung mga strategiya at mga plano na I think maraming series of training na magaganap within the past years and in the coming years para mas mapabuti po ang mga serbisyo ng government. And then enabling environment, meaning Filipinos enjoy the right to adequate food and nutrition due to good governance and enabling policy environment. So talagang nakasalalay pa rin talaga sa ating government, sa ating gobyerno, ang pagpapalaganap ng magagandang nutrition services. And we are hoping and praying na lahat po ng nabanggit kanina na priority barangays ay mabigyan talaga ng magagandang nutrition services para naman po maibsan ang mga problemang pangnutrisyon. Ayan. So, nais kong ibahagi sa inyo ang ilan sa mga plano ng ating government when it comes to nutrition specific, nutrition sensitive, and of course enabling mechanisms. But nais kong i-emphasize sa inyo yung tinatawag na nutrition specific interventions. Ito po ang mga paraan ng government natin, mga nutrition intervention na nakaka-address or to those that address the immediate o kumbaga madali ang solusyon ito para po sa ating mga mommies, of course sa ating mga maliliit na itong ating mga preschool children, and of course, for child nutrition and development. Ano nga ba ang mga examples nito, no? Sabi nga po dito, based on the framework of the 2013 Lancet series on maternal and child nutrition and as adopted in RA 1114A, nutrition-specific interventions refer to those that address the immediate determinants of maternal, fetal, infant, and child nutrition and development. So, ito po ang mga examples na mga programa na isasagawa ng government para to address all these nutrition problems. Examples are adolescent, preconception, and maternal health and nutrition. Second is maternal dietary or micronutrient supplementation, which is ongoing naman po yan sa mga health centers. Third is the promotion of optimal breastfeeding. Fourth, complementary feeding and responsive feeding practices and simulation. Fifth is dietary supplementation. Sixth, diversification and micronutrient supplementation or fortification for children. And then treatment of severe acute malnutrition, disease prevention, and management nutrition in emergencies. At ano na nga ba ang ilan sa mga nutrition-sensitive intervention? Nung kanina, yun yung nabanggit nating nutrition-specific. But then, on the other hand, nutrition-sensitive interventions address underlying determinants of maternal, fetal, infant, and child nutrition, such as those related to food security, social protection, adequate caregiving resources, access to health services, and a safe and hygienic environment. So ito ho yung mga intervention na ina-address naman niya. Ano nga ba ang mga solusyon or mga factors, no, na bakit nagkakaroon ng problema pang nutrisyon, no? Kumbaga indirect pero may kinalaman sa nutrisyon. Example po dito ay agriculture and food security, social safety nets, early child development, maternal mental health, women's empowerment, child protection, schooling and education, WASH, no? Health and family planning services. Yan. So yan po yung ilan sa mga programa ng ating bansa, no, when it comes to nutrition sensitive intervention. Yan. Pag sinabing WASH, it's all about water. Yan, in hygiene. Yan. All right. So, yun po yung kabuuan, no, ang pinaka-summary ng ating National Nutrition Month theme, na talaga namang masasabi natin na kailangan natin itong bilang Pilipino, kailangan po nating pag-isipan ito at malaman, kasi naniniwala po tayo ang bawat isa sa atin ay may kontribusyon sa ating pong bansa. Yan, maliit man yan o malaki. Kaya naman, ang ating pong mga guest speakers ngayon, ang kanila pong mga topics ay masasabi kong napaka-relevant din po sa ating pong National Nutrition Month theme, sapagkat they will be sharing the research on how we can improve our nutrition, no, at home or kahit saan, no, dahil itong mga research na ito ay pwede nating magamit sa ating sariling tahanan upang mapaganda ang ating kalagayang pangnutrisyon. So, ang ating pong unang speaker for our National Nutrition webinar ay walang iba, no, kundi from a faculty from Benguet State University, Dr. Peline B. Bellino. And siya po ay isang distinguished professor of human nutrition at Benguet State University in La Trinidad, Benguet, and she holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Foods and Nutrition from the University of Baguio, a Master's in Applied Nutrition, and a PhD in Human Nutrition from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Dr. Bellino has contributed significantly to the field of nutrition, receiving numerous awards such as the Milestone Award or Service Award and the Distinguished Alumni or Alumna Award for Nutrition Education from Benguet State University. She has also been recognized for her creative research with Likha Awards for projects like basil flavored ice cream and assorted freeze-dried local fruits. Active in both academic and professional circles, Dr. Bellino is a board member of the Nutritionist Dietitian Association of the Philippines, Baguio Benguet Chapter, and a member of the Cordillera Regional Health and Development Consortium Research Ethics Committee. Her extensive experience includes conducting and participating in numerous seminars and training programs focused on nutrition and research ethics. Dr. Bellino's commitment to advancing nutrition science and education is evident through her dedicated service and numerous contributions to the field. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Dr. Belin P. Bellino, and she will talk about a wonderful research na mapapakinabangan natin entitled The Development of Full-Fatted Soybean-Based Food Products as Meat Alternatives. Okay, so before we hear from Dr. Bellino, let me introduce our second speaker. Okay, our second speaker, actually she's the Dean of the College of Home Economics and Technology at Benguet State University. Siya po ay walang iba si Dr. Jojo A. Sumaiden. She's a Professor 1 of Benguet State University. And aside from being the Dean of the College of Home Economics and Technology, she's also the Chairperson of the Department of Home Economics on a concurrent capacity. She completed her Doctor of Philosophy in Technological Education Management at Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, Mid-La Union Campus, San Fernando in 2015. And then European Masters of Arts in Lifelong Learning at the Institute of Education, University of London, England in 2010, and Masters in Food Science and Nutrition at Ghent University, Belgium in 2006 with distinction, and Master of Arts in Home Economics in 2003, and Bachelor of Science in Home Economics in 1996 as magna cum laude at Benguet State University, La Trinidad, Benguet, Philippines. Ayan. So, si Dr. Sumaiden naman po, she will discuss with us a very interesting topic. I'm so interested talaga. Kasi she will talk about not just, of course, the nutritious part of her research, but of course, yung livelihood part nito, na kung saan talaga baka ang ilan sa atin ay maging interested on how we can be able to be an entrepreneur because of this research. Yan. And the title of the topic na kanyang ibabahagi later on after Dr. Bellino, entitled Vacuum Fried Chop Suey Chips, an Alternative Processing Technology for Highland Vegetables. Okay, so without further much ado, I would like to turn the time now to Dr. Bellino and then to Dr. Sumaiden. So enjoy watching and learning. Thank you.
Blessed morning and nutritious morning to everyone. So this morning, I'll be sharing the output of our research on the development of full-fatted soybean-based food products as meat alternatives. Acknowledgement is accorded to the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Agricultural Research for funding this study. So, as an introduction, we know that soybeans is a nutritious food. It's a good source of energy, carbohydrate, protein, unsaturated fat, and fiber. It also contains phytochemicals that prevent cancer, and of course, vitamins and minerals that would boost overall health promotion. So for this presentation, I'd like to invite you to read on the objectives of the study. So our study had determined the consumer behavior on full-fatted soybean-based food products or the food consumption in Baguio and Benguet. Also, we developed full-fatted soybean-based food products as meat alternatives. So we have three soybean-based food products: the soybean-based burger patty, the full-fatted soybean-based longanisa, and the full-fatted soybean-based nuggets. We also determined the nutritional content of the full-fatted soybean-based food products as meat alternatives. So we have subjected the most acceptable formulation for nutrient content analysis. We also determined the cost and benefit analysis of the full-fatted soybean-based food products. And we determined the stability and shelf life of full-fatted soybean-based food products as meat alternatives. And we started transferring the technology through a pilot testing for possible commercialization of the full-fatted soybean-based products as meat alternatives. So for study 1, on the determination of consumer behavior on the full-fatted soybean-based food products as meat alternatives, we employed quantitative descriptive research, particularly a survey, to gather information on the behavior of consumer respondents towards full-fatted soybean-based meat alternatives. So the study focused on those factors that may influence consumer behavior, their preferences and perceptions of soybean-based products as meat alternatives, particularly to the psychological or individual factors, also the sensory factors, and the marketing factors. So we adapted and modified the multidisciplinary model of the main factors affecting consumer behavior of Font-I-Fornoils and Guerrero in 2014. That's for activity 1. For activity 2, we had several formulations for the development of the 3 soybean-based food products: the soybean-based burger patty, the soybean-based longanisa, and soybean-based nuggets. So after we had already formulated the 3 products, the formulations were subjected for sensory evaluation in terms of appearance, color, texture, aroma, and general acceptability using the hedonic scale. And we subjected the most preferred formulation for chemical and nutrient analysis at the OST Regional Office 1. And we had also cost analysis, and we determined the shelf life and pilot tested the products for possible commercialization. So we have here the general flow of the methods followed. So we have from winnowing. So we have winnowing, and then this is washed, boiled, dehydrated, and powdered to come up with the powdered soybeans or the flour. And then this is the one that's used for preparing the 3 food products using different formulations. So this has undergone molding, shaping for the nuggets, and for the longanisa, it has to be stuffed using a casing, and then packaged, and then sealed and stored frozen. So we have here in the next slide the preparation, another picture showing how the soybeans were prepared until we have the soybean flour, which is the main ingredient that is used for the preparing of the 3 food products. So this is now ready to be used for the formulation of the 3 food products that were developed. So we have here the different formulations. So for soybean-based longganisa, we have for the first formulation coded as 531. It has 50 grams of soybean flour and 50 grams of ground pork. We have 851 with 70 grams of soybean flour and 50 grams of ground pork. And the third treatment has 90 grams of soybean flour and 50 grams of ground pork. So it's only the amount of soybean flour that varied in the formulations. The same is followed for the formulation of the soybean-based nuggets. So we have 50 grams soybean flour, 70 grams soybean flour, and 90 grams soybean flour with 50 grams of ground pork. For the soybean-based burger patty, we also had 3 formulations. So the same, we have 50 grams soybean flour, 70 grams soybean flour, and 90 grams soybean flour. But this time, it is the ground beef that is used. 50 grams of ground beef was used for the formulation of the soybean-based burger patty. So for the sensory evaluation, we use 9-point hedonic scale, 9 as like extremely and 1 as dislike extremely. So we have now the results. So for the activity 1, we had 395 respondents, and 99%, that is 391, indicated their willingness to buy the soybean-based products when this will be available in the market. And with regards to the socio-demographics as factors that may affect or influence the purchase of these soybean-based products, so we have here that majority of the respondents considered their income, occupation, lifestyle, personality, and health condition to affect their purchase of soybean-based food products. In fact, 52% of the respondents indicated that their health condition will highly affect their purchase or their preference for the soybean-based products. And it is noteworthy that consumers value health, as reflected, of course, in the popularity of foods that are low in fat, energy, carbohydrates, salt, sugar, cholesterol, and foods with special nutritional benefits. And this is actually the purpose of having this study, the soybean-based food products as meat alternatives. Now, with regards to their expectations on the quality of the product, the results show how important the freshness of the product is to consumers. Likewise, with the quantity per pack, how this would be available in the market, how it is packaged, the quantity per pack is also one of those factors that would be considered by would-be consumers. For the sensory qualities or the properties, including the appearance like the color, the texture, the taste, and aroma, okay, all of this are considered by the consumer respondents to be important determinants for them to purchase the soybean-based products. Likewise, with the marketing-related factors, particularly the price, the accessibility to a store location, and of course, marketing campaigns for them to know about these products would greatly affect the purchase of these food products, the soybean-based food products. The survey also considered the preferred location of the soybean-based products, and among the respondents, the most convenient place for them to purchase the products are in the wet or fresh market, followed by having it directly from local entrepreneurs and in the supermarket. So furthermore, majority of the respondents said that they will be purchasing these 3 food products, the burger patty, longanisa, nuggets, and they would be purchasing this with 1/2 kilo or half kilo to 2 kilograms per week when this would be available in the market. So with the results of the study, the researchers then developed these 3 food products. So yes, and according to the result also, as to the quantity per pack, they prefer to have it by 1/2 kilograms. No, so by 1/2 kilograms, I guess it would also be reasonable enough in terms of the prices. And so as to the criteria that the consumers would consider, topping the list is the nutritional value. Then we have the health benefits, then followed by affordability and the taste. So yes, so based on this, we really see that many of the respondents also consider the nutritional value of the food as well as the health benefits. And it's also worthy to note that many of the respondents would check the nutritional value of some products or on most products. So on most products of of the products that they purchase. So moving on now to the development of the 3 food products. So these are the full-fatted soybean-based burger patty. This is made from the mixture of full-fatted soybean, egg, breadcrumbs, evaporated milk, Worcestershire sauce, cayenne powder, and of course this is formed in a round flattened shape, which is usually pan-fried and stuffed in a sandwich as a filling. The second product is the soybean-based longanisa. So this is made from a mixture of full-fatted soybean. We have soy sauce, vinegar, garlic, bay leaves, paprika, brown sugar, salt, and pepper. And this is mixed and this is stuffed into the casing and tied up at both ends. So for those of you who have been making longanisa or have seen how they make longanisa, this is similar, only that we use the full-fatted soybean as the main ingredient. Then we have the third product. This is the full-fatted soybean-based nuggets. So this is made from a mixture of full-fatted soybean, flour, salt, pepper, garam masala. We have ginger, garlic paste, and this is shaped into different sizes and figures and then coated into egg and breadcrumbs. And of course, the ideal cooking method is deep frying to maintain its crispness. This could be served, of course, as a snack or a main dish. So these are the pictures of the soybean-based food products. So we have the burger patty, we have the nuggets, and this one is our full-fatted soybean-based longanisa. So based on the sensor evaluation, we have here in terms of the overall acceptability, color, mouthfeel, taste, and texture. For the burger patty, the treatment 603 with 70 grams soybean flour and 50 grams ground pork was like very much. It was like very much for all the qualities that had been used for the sensor evaluation. For the full-fatted soybean-based nuggets, it is the treatment 896 with the 50 grams soybean flour and 50 grams ground pork that was liked very much in terms of overall acceptability, color, mouthfeel, taste. However, for texture, it is treatment 387 with 90 grams soybean flour and 50 grams ground pork that was rated as liked very much. So in terms of texture. For the longanisa, we have treatment 531, which has 50 grams soybean flour and 50 grams ground pork that was preferred by the consumer panelists. That is like much in terms of the overall acceptability as well as taste and texture. However, for color and mouthfeel, it is treatment 468 with 90 grams soybean flour and 50 grams ground pork that were most acceptable in terms of taste and taste and texture. So that is for the acceptability of the full-fatted soybean-based products. So we have subjected the most acceptable formulation for chemical and nutrient analysis at the regional office, the Department of Science and Technology Regional Office 1 for the analysis. So as shown in this results in the summary, the three products have relatively high amounts of moisture and water activity. So medyo mataas yung kanilang moisture at saka water activity, and hence they should be stored frozen to reduce the water activity and prevent the growth of microorganisms in order to prolong the shelf life. The products also have good amounts of protein, potassium, and sodium. So for the NutriFacts, this was computed by the OST Regional Office to determine the percentage daily value for a serving size of 50 grams based on a total based on a 2,000 kilocalorie requirement. And for protein, calcium and potassium, and for protein, calcium, and potassium. So we did computation based on the percentage recommended nutrient intake for that 50 grams serving size based on the RNI, the recommended nutrient intake of an adult male based on the Philippine Dietary Reference Intake of 2015. So we can see here that the soybean-based products as meat alternatives are good sources, as we have said, of these nutrients, particularly protein, providing from 14 to 15% of the recommended nutrient intake. Likewise with potassium and even sodium. It has also some considerable amounts of energy, and of course for fat, the total fat was the one considered because of the limitations during the COVID-19 pandemic. We should have the products be analyzed for unsaturated fat and saturated fat, but that time analysis of the products were not really done on those aspects because of some limitations due to the reagents that they would be using. So that is for the chemical and nutritional properties of the soybean-based food products as meat alternatives. And for the cost analysis, the accountant in our research team was responsible for the cost analysis of the 3 developed products. So as shown in this slide, we have the direct material cost for the burger patty, which would cost 65 pesos and 24 centavos. For the longanisa, 82 pesos and 50 centavos, and nuggets with a direct material cost allocation of 59.23. And considering now the direct material cost per 250 grams per pack, so this would be the amount for direct material cost. And considering now the total product cost and estimated selling price, the soybean burger patty would cost 64.27. This is per 250 grams per pack. Soybean based sweet longanisa would be 69.34, and your soybean based nuggets would be costing 53.55 pesos per 250 grams pack. So yes, considering the price, it was compared to the prices of similar commercially available products in the market, and it would show that it would be lower as compared to the other commercially available products in the market. So those that are available in the market would be costing about 78 to 102 and 50 centavos for similar meat-based products, in up to 149 for 250 grams pack for similar meat-free products. So the soybean-based products as meat alternatives would really be lower as compared to available meat-based or meat-free products in the market. We did also a shelf life analysis on this food products by determining the rapid aerobic count in the rapid yeast in mold for all of these 3 products, and the results show that it has 0 to minimal aerobic count up to week 5 and up to week 5, and increase over time, but did not reach the maximum limit of more than 10 to the 7th within the 9 weeks trial period. So with this, we can say that the products are still safe for consumption even up to week 9. And we did actually a sensorial acceptability of the soybean-based food products, considering 6-point rejection level on the overall acceptability of the products. And a statistical analysis would show that even at week 8, it's still very acceptable with 7.25, considering the 6-point rejection level. So we can consider that it is still good up to 8 weeks, considering the overall acceptability. The last activity of the project is pilot testing for possible commercialization of this developed food products. So we conducted a technology transfer to the staff of Kibungan Employees Multipurpose Cooperative, one of the municipalities in Benguet that operates a canteen and a catering service. And we also did training among members of the Women's Association in Baguio City that is sponsored by the Department of Agriculture Agricultural Training Institute. And so with this, we have here the summary and conclusions. So indeed, in general, consumers in the locality, regardless of age, sex, educational attainment, and household income, they are willing to buy soybean-based food products as meat alternatives when available. Secondly, the result of the study showed that the 3 developed full-fatted soybean-based products, particularly soybean-based burger patty, the soybean-based sweet longanisa, and the soybean-based nuggets were acceptable to the consumer panelists. And third, the 3 developed full-fatted soybean-based products have considerable amounts of nutrients, particularly protein, potassium, and sodium. And the shelf life analysis for us 6-point rejection level on the overall acceptability of the product showed a shelf life of 8 weeks. And the cost analysis shows that the estimated selling price range is still lower compared to other similar commercially available products in the market. And so the soybean-based nuggets particularly had the biggest price advantage, as it is almost half of the average meat-based commercial product. And so we believe that there is a great potential for the full-fatted soybean-based food products as meat alternatives to be viable in Baguio and Benguet based on the acceptability of the products. And I also believe that although the study was conducted here in Baguio and Benguet, I also believe that other consumers will likewise appreciate and purchase these products if available in the market, considering that it is nutritious, it's a healthy food, and it is affordable. So we have here the recommendations based on the findings of the study. Further training as well as technology transfer on this full-fatted soybean-based food products should be conducted among entrepreneurs, particularly food entrepreneurs, to make this accessible to consumers. These meat alternatives should then be promoted to be available in the wet market and to be supplied directly by local entrepreneurs. And the soybean-based food products should be properly labeled to include the nutritional value and health benefits. Because as we have said, as a result of the study, many of the consumers are reading the nutrition label, and they would want to see the health benefits and the nutritional value of the products that they're buying. And lastly, farmers in the region and nearby regions are encouraged to plant soybeans because there's really a dearth of the source of raw materials, and actually this is one of the concerns in adapting the technology, particularly here in Baguio and Benguet, because the raw materials, particularly soybeans, will have to be sourced out from the nearby regions or nearby areas who are producing a lot of this soybeans. So that is for the recommendations, and thank you very much for listening. I hope you have gained something from the sharing, and so happy Nutrition Month. So with this, I believe that yes, the results of the study could also help in, of course, in being able to provide additional foods that are nutritious, healthy, in order for us to achieve well-nourished citizenry that would be, it's not really meat-free, but at least it is lower in meat that would be beneficial for those who have some health concerns with regards to the intake of saturated fats coming from our meat-based food products. So with that, thank you, and enjoy our celebration with regards to Nutrition Month so that we can really attain healthy and well-nourished citizenry.
Magandang umaga mga kapates ko. This morning, I'm going to present to you how to do the vacuum fried chop suey chips. Vacuum frying will serve as an alternative processing for selected vegetables and the chop suey chips as an alternative venture for entrepreneurship. Sa mga nag-iisip kung ano ang iluluto and then eventually ibebenta at pagkakakitaan, you might want to consider our chop suey chips. The project was implemented by Benguet State University College of Home Economics and Technology in collaboration with the Department of Agriculture, Cordillera Administrative Region, and funded by the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Agricultural Research. In Benguet, dito sa amin, we are located in the northern part of the Philippines. Sa mga naghahanap sa mapa, masikat po kasi ang Baguio City kaysa sa province of Benguet. We are the primary vegetable producer in the Cordillera Administrative Region. These vegetables are, but not limited to, carrots, cabbage, cauliflower, beans, and broccoli. Pag pinagsama-sama natin sila, anong ulam ang pumapasok sa ating isipan? Chop suey. Diyan po nanggaling ang chop suey chips. Ginawa nga lang namin silang chips, pero chop suey sila, halo-halong vegetables. Maraming ang gulay dito sa amin, pero minsan nakikita natin ang mga ito sa ating social media. May mga vegetables na nasasayang, iniiwan na lang ng mga farmers natin sa kalsada kasi mababa ang presyo niya. Hindi mabenta sa merkado. Ito po ang nang-inganyo sa atin para mag-develop ng technology on how to process these vegetables. Matulungan ng mga farmers, kikita pa tayo. Pag-usapan natin ang vegetable-based processed products. Pagsasabihin natin or tatanungin ko kayo, what are the vegetable-based processed products that you know coming from Benguet? Kasi pag sasabihin natin, pag fruits, strawberries for example, hingi ka ng pasalubong, may pupunta dito sa La Trinidad, dito sa Baguio, dito sa Benguet, pagbilhan mo nga ako ng strawberry jam. Process na siya. Pag-usapan natin ng vegetables. Pag vegetable-based processed products, anong papasok sa ating isip? No product in particular. Baka in the next years to come, in the next months, magkakaroon na tayo ng adapter para dito sa ating chop suey chips. May mga products din naman na vegetable-based, sabi nila, pero sa aking tingin, it's maybe vegetable-enriched, vegetable-enhanced, pero hindi pa sila vegetable-based. Kasi pagsasabihin natin na vegetable-based, dapat 60 to 70% is made out of vegetables. Meron tayong mga products na ganito. Yes, they are also crunchy. Pero these vegetables are not 100% vegetable-based processed products. Ang vegetables, yung puree niya, ginamit lang for coloring, ginamit lang for flavoring. Na minsan, it's only like 20%, at most 30%, or even 10% ang ginagamit nila, dinadagdag nila dito sa flour para magkaroon ng vegetable products. Okay, pero yung gawa natin na chop suey chips, these are 100% made out of vegetables. Nutritious, di ba? When we were trying to consider what technology to apply in the production of chop suey chips, ang unang pumasok sa isipan namin is dehydration. And then in dehydration, marami rin silang technologies. And we find it, shall we say, we have selected frying. Kasi pag prito, sasabihin mo, crunchy, prito yan. Gustong-gusto ng Pilipino. And frying can be done through conventional process or the conventional frying na sinasabi natin. And this is done by deep fat frying of foods, usually carried out under atmospheric conditions at temperatures near 190 degrees centigrade. Alam naman natin na kung masyadong mataas ang temperature, madaling masira ang ating oil. May nadidevelop na mga toxic substances doon sa ating oil. Yun ang disadvantage ng conventional frying. And conventional frying may use the frying pan, and then our electric deep fat frying na tulad ng ginagamit natin sa paggawa ng French fries na gustong-gusto ng marami sa atin. Okay. There is a healthier way of doing frying, and this is vacuum frying. Ang disadvantage lang nito is mangangailangan tayo ng specialized equipment. Pero marami na hong vacuum fryer na ni-deploy sa ating iba't ibang state universities. You might want to visit them to see them. Ang pagkakaalam ko po, in every region, DOST has deployed vacuum fryer. Dito sa Cordillera, meron po dito sa Benguet State University. So if you wanted to try the technology, please do visit the state universities near you. In every region, I know there is an assigned center na nabigyan ng mga modern na technologies na mga ito. Okay. Sa vacuum frying, this is a process that is carried out under pressure below atmospheric levels. Vacuum fried vegetables have higher retention of nutritional quality, color is retained, there is now reduced oiliness of produce, oil degradation is reduced compared to atmospheric frying. So, titignan natin dito, yung kanyang kulay is andyan. Kung na-retain ang kanyang kulay, na-retain ang phytochemicals niya, na-retain din ang kanyang mga nutrient content. Lesser ang oil absorption, mas ginagawa rin ito or ang temperature na gamit dito is mas mababa, kaya mas matagal masira ang ating oil, mas magagamit pa natin ng maraming beses ang ating cooking oil. Yun naman ang kagandahan ng vacuum frying. Kung medyo may kamahalan ang mga vacuum fryers, pero titignan natin ang kanilang mga products ay di hamak na mas maganda as compared to the fried product doon sa ibabaw ng ating gas stoves. Okay. Ang equipment na gagamitin natin is we have the vacuum fryer, we also have the bun sealer, we also have the vegetable slicing machine specific for carrots and broccoli stalks. We also have burners, freezer, spinners, okay? And we have our basic tools. We have the pillar, paring knife, pwede. Kung walang pillar, okay lang paring knife, strainers, basins, and of course our pots. Unahin natin ang grupo ng broccoli florets, ng carrots, and then French beans. Okay. Explain ko sa inyo mamaya kung bakit itong tatlong ito is magkakagrupo sila, and then later on, we'll see how it differs with the other set of vegetables. So, in the preparation of the vegetables, we are going to wash them, giving special attention to soil dirt. Kasi yung soil, maraming microorganisms po ang nandoon. So, we do not want them in our processed products kasi pwede silang mag-multiply and then our product will become not safe already for consumption. Kaya tanggalin natin yung mga soil dirt na yan. So, yung carrots po, hugasan ng mabuti. Also with the beans, French beans ang ginamit natin dito, and of course, your broccoli. Baka pwedeng paghiwalayin na rin yung mga florets para mahugasan ng maigi ang ating broccoli. Broccoli po ang ginamit natin dito. Okay. Ihiwalay po yung tangkay because there is now a separate process on how to do it. The broccoli stalks. Ihiwalay po natin yun. Huwag po nating itatapon kasi pwede pa natin silang i-process. Maganda po silang gawing chips. Okay. After that, we are now going to slice or cut the vegetables, of course, separately. You have to work on them individually. So, yung carrots natin, we're going to slice about 1.3 to 1.4 millimeter. Halos pare-pareho ang kanyang thickness, and 35 to 50 millimeter in diameter. Pare-pareho din yung kanyang laki. Okay. Almost similar. Bakit? Alam na po natin yon para sabay-sabay po silang maluto. Yung French beans naman natin is 3 to 4 inches long. We're going to cut our French beans 3 to 4 inches long. And then, for our broccoli, we are going to separate them into florets, approximately 3 to 5 grams each. Afterwards, we are going to blanch the vegetables in boiling water. For the carrots, yung slices na sinabi natin, yung diameter na sinabi natin, it's 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, kung medyo mas malalaki naman sila, 35 to 50 millimeter in diameter, it's 5 to 6 minutes. Kasi yung carrots natin, it's triangular naman yung kanyang shape, di ba? So yung mga nandun sa may bottom part niya, you might want to put them together, and then yung mga medyo malulusog na part, you also would put them together. Okay, so yung French beans naman is 35 seconds per kilogram. Kasi mas madali silang mag-change ng color, and usually yun ang indication natin ng completeness ng blanching, di ba? And then for the broccoli florets, it's 3 to 5 minutes. And then we're going to cold shock the blanched vegetables into cold water until cooled and drained. Why is there a need for us to cold shock? That is now to stop cooking. We still want to preserve the color of our vegetables, kaya ayaw natin ng overcook. Even when you are going to cook your chop suey, you do not want something that is overcooked. Kaya i-preserve natin yung kanyang kulay. We cold shock them. And we're going to reduce moisture through partial drying or centrifuge or draining. Pwede natin gamitin ang ating salad drainers. Doon natin sila i-centrifuge. Okay? Doon natin tanggalin yung ibang water niya. We are going to place vegetables loosely into freezable plastic pouches. Dapat we recommend 500 grams in each pouch. Why? Para mas madali po silang ilagay doon sa ating frying pan. Okay. And we are going to freeze these vegetable slices for 2 days. Okay. After 2 days, we are now ready to do vacuum frying. So we are going to preheat the vacuum fryer to 130 degrees centigrade. Hindi ho basta-basta ang paggamit ng ating vacuum fryer. Dapat po ay trained ang ating operators ng ating vacuum fryer. Kaya there is a separate training in the operation of vacuum fryers. At dapat meron tayong konting alam sa ating physics when we are going to operate when we're going to operate our vacuum fryer. Vacuum fry vegetables on specified time or until the end of bubbling while maintaining a pressure of 55 to 60 psi and temperature of 80 degrees centigrade throughout the vacuum process. Meron tayong dito, sumisilip tayo dito. Pag marami pang malalaking bubbles, ang ating vegetables are not yet fried. Pero kung wala na bubbles na malalaki, okay, our vegetables are already fried. Meron din tayong estimates doon sa ating time, and this napatunayan na po ito sa ating mga research, yung research na kinandak natin, and we recommend 90 to 100 minutes for 4 to 6 kilos of carrots, 70 to 80 minutes for 4 to 5 kilos of French beans, and then 85 to 95 minutes for 5 to 7 kilos of broccoli florets. Okay. And then we are going to the oil by centrifugation under pressure for 20 minutes. Sa loob, nasa loob pa rin po siya ng vacuum fryer. We try now to remove more of its oil. Kaya mas kukonti ang oil ng ating mga vacuum fried vegetables because of these processes. And then, pag hango mo na siya doon sa vacuum fryer, i-oil mo pa rin siya under atmospheric pressure for 2 minutes at 700 RPM. May mga vacuum fryers na hiwalay ang spinners niya. Pero kung walang hiwalay na spinner ang mga vacuum fryer, na yun ang meron sa karamihan sa ating mga state universities, pwede po tayong gumamit ng ating spinner. Yung ginagamit to squeeze the clothes after laundry, pwede yun. Pero dapat that spinner is intended sa pagluto, sa paggawa talaga ng vacuum fried. Huwag niyong sabihin na ngayon is gagamitin natin sa kusina, bukas gagamitin po natin sa laundry. Hindi po pwede. Dapat kung yung spinner na gagamitin natin is intended para sa pagluluto lang. Huwag natin gamitin yung ginagamit natin sa panlaba. If you want, you have to clean them properly, or you might want to buy a new one. Okay. And then cool vacuum fried vegetables to ambient temperature before we are now going to pack them. Before packing, if you want to add flavors, you may. Meron tayong cheese flavor, barbecue flavor. Meron din tayong salted egg flavor. Okay, ano pa ba? Sour and cream, pwede po siya. Yung 4 po na flavoring na binanggit ko, when we tested it doon sa ating consumer panel, 122, nakita nila, natikman nila yung mga products, gusto po nila. These are highly acceptable by our panel members, consumer type. Okay, and then ipapack na natin siya. Ang recommended packaging material po is the 130 microns resealable aluminum foil pouches, and we are now going to seal using multifunctional bond sealer. Nakita na po natin kanina kung ano yung bond sealer na yun. Pinakita ko together with the other equipment and tools that we use in vacuum frying. Okay. Store vacuum fried vegetables away from sunlight and moisture until ready to consume. Ang next set ng ating vegetables are cabbage and broccoli stalks and chips. Itong dalawa is pinagsama natin because mangangailangan po tayo ng maltodextrin. It is a food additive that enhances the texture of these vegetables. Dito sa Benguet, when we were trying to look at the production doon sa PSA, ang may pinakamaraming production is cabbage and then carrots. Sa carrots, wala kaming problema. When we tried vacuum frying it, maganda yung kanyang texture, masarap ang kanyang lasa. But dito sa cabbage, medyo na-challenge tayo doon sa kanyang paggawa kasi hindi namin nakukuha yung desired na crunchiness na gusto namin. Muntikan na namin talagang i-drop yung cabbage kasi para siyang papel. But nung tinignan namin, medyo nakonsensya kami kasi nung tinignan namin, mas marami pang production ang cabbage dito sa Benguet as compared doon sa carrots. So if you're not going to support our cabbage farmers who will, ang dami-daming cabbage produced dito sa Benguet, and then kukunti or bibihira naman ang mga processed products that are made out of cabbage. Kaya challenge ulit kami, sige binalikan namin hanggang na kuha namin yung gusto. We have tested it to the market and then mataas din ang kanyang consumer acceptability. Pati rin yung ating broccoli florets. Yung broccoli florets natin, karamihan yan, ayaw yan ng tao. Kaya ang kinukuha lang natin is now the florets, and then yung stalks niya, dinediscard natin. Okay? Pero when we tried frying them, maganda, crunchy siya. Okay? And then sa pagkakalam natin, marami ang nutrients na nandyan sa ating broccoli stalks. So ano ang ating gagawin? Remove matured outer leaves of the cabbage and cut into quarters para tanggalin natin yung matigas doon sa gitna niya. And we are going to wash the vegetables and of course again, drain properly. Cut away the cabbage core for each quarter. Tinanggal natin yung matigas doon sa gitna niya. And then sa broccoli naman, broccoli stalks, we're now going to pare and then slice thinly. Sa cabbages, you have to cut the cabbage leaves approximately 3 by 3 inches. Subukan yung gumawa ng square. Kung medyo hindi perfect ang kanyang square, okay lang. Basta more or less, halos pare-pareho sila ng sizes. Again, para sabay-sabay silang maluto. Dito naman sa ating broccoli stalks, slice sa about 1.3 to 1.4 millimeter thick and 25 to 35 millimeter in diameter. Okay. Use the vegetable slicer for uniformity. Yung vegetable slicer na nasa amin, ang pinakamanipis po is ito, 1.3 to 1.4. Blanch the vegetables in boiling water for cabbage leaves, 3 to 5 seconds for every 300 grams. For broccoli stalks, 2 to 4 minutes. Okay. And then, cold shock, dyan na naman, the blanched vegetables for at least 1 minute and then drain. Sa cold shocking, we would recommend the use of ice water para mas madali po silang lumamig. And then, soak vegetables for 1 hour in maltodextrin solution. Maltodextrin is a food additive that enhances food texture. For cabbage leaves, you're going to dissolve 400 grams of maltodextrin in 1 liter of water for every 2 kilograms. Sa broccoli stalks naman, 300 grams maltodextrin dissolved in 1 liter for every 1 kilogram of broccoli stalks. And para sigurado po tayo na nakasubmerge ang ating broccoli leaves and then broccoli stalks. Okay. And leave that for 1 hour. Soak natin to, leave it for 1 hour, and then after that, reduce moisture through partial drying or centrifuge or draining. Ang pagkakaiba lang po ng ating batch 1 na vegetables dito sa ating batch 2 na vegetables is the use of maltodextrin at kung paano gamitin ang maltodextrin. The rest na proseso is halos pare-pareho na po sila. Okay. Pwede po nating lagyan yung carrots, pwede po na rin na po nating lagyan yung what you call this one, yung beans, pwede rin yung broccoli florets. Kaso nga lang, as much as possible, di ba gusto nating huwag gumamit ng food additives. Kaya gagamit lang tayo pag talagang kailangan. But to improve texture of our group 1 vegetables, you can also use maltodextrin. Pwede nyo rin silang ibabad. And then place vegetables loosely into freezable plastic pouches, 500 grams in each pouch. Tanong, ma'am, pwede ba kami maglagay ng 1 kilogram or 1,000 grams doon sa isang pouch? Pwede po, pero mas mahirapan po tayong mag-shoot doon sa frying tank. Kaya, we recommend yung 500 grams. Mas madali po siyang i-manage when we are now going to place them in the frying tanks. And then freeze again the vegetable slices for 2 days. Kung quick freezing po ang ating mga freezers, 24 hours pwede na po yan basta matigas po ang ating vegetables. Kasi minsan, di ba, pag masyadong marami yung nilagay natin is hindi na-freeze lahat. The innermost part of the vegetables are not frozen. Pag ganun pang mangyayari, hindi po ganun ka-crunchy ang ating outcome. And again, preheat the vacuum fryer to 130 degrees centigrade. And vacuum fry vegetables on specified time or until the end of bubbling while maintaining a pressure of 55 to 60 psi and temperature of 80 degrees centigrade. Kaya dito, 80 degrees ang temperature ng ating oil as compared to the atmospheric frying, nagbe-maintain po tayo ng 190 degrees centigrade. So, halos kalahating sa temperature ang ating ginamit. So, ibig sabihin, mas maraming beses natin pwedeng gamitin ang ating mantika. So, for the cabbage leaves, 3 to 5 kilograms, it's 50 to 70 minutes. And then for the broccoli stalks, 97 minutes for 5 to 6 kilograms. And the oil again by centrifugation under pressure habang nasa loob pa siya ng vacuum fryer pero natanggal na yung kanyang oil, and i-centrifuge natin. Parang haluin natin, parang i-stir natin para lalabas yung kanyang oil. Hindi naman sa talagang i-stir kasi hindi mo naman talaga siya babalik-balik ta rin. Parang i-squeeze lang natin yung principle dun sa ating spinner para matanggal yung kanyang oil. Okay? And then, tanggalin siya sa frying tank and you are now going to do oil further by centrifugation at atmospheric pressure for another 2 minutes para maraming matanggal talaga yung oil. Ma-reduce natin ng hanggang sa pwedeng i-reduce yung kanyang oil content. Cool vacuum fried vegetables to ambient temperature. Yes, medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng discoloration dito kasi nagkakaroon ng browning, hindi naman sa discoloration pero enzymatic browning, even our vegetables. Though we can again use additives to prevent enzymatic browning, pero nasa konsensya na po yan ng ating, or choice na rin yan ng ating processor. Kung gusto niya talagang gumamit ng mas marami pang additives or sabihin sa ating mga consumers that we really expect that from food, enzymatic browning, and sometimes Maillard reaction. And even sometimes caramelization. All of these processes, all of these chemical processes would give brown color doon sa ating vegetables. Okay. Again, if desired, you're now going to add flavoring. You might want to control it to control also the sodium content ng ating vacuum-fried vegetables. Okay. Yung mga flavorings lang naman is to increase yung acceptability sa mga, particularly sa mga bata. Pero yung appeal ng vacuum-fried vegetables sa mga nag-iisip o sa mga adult na alam na yung mga choices nila sa buhay, buhay talaga. Okay? Maganda ang acceptance nila dito sa ating crispy vegetables o sa ating mga chop suey, sa ating vacuum-fried vegetables. Okay, store vacuum-fried vegetables away from sunlight and moisture until ready to consume or use. Sinubject natin sa microbial analysis sa Department of Science and Technology and pumasa po hanggang sa third test ang ating carrots. Okay, safe siya in terms of coliform, E. coli, aerobic plate, and then yeast and molds. Sa French beans naman, safe din siya. For the first kasi sa DOST is dapat 3 beses kang magbigay sa kanila ng sample. To make sure na yung mga samples mo is when you have replicated it, pareho yung process mo, and then yung process mo and also your source mo is safe siya. So 3 beses kaming nagpa-test. And then safe din. Tanggalin natin, itaas muna natin to prove at ma-convince kayo na yun nga, safe ang ating French beans. Also with broccoli, safe din po siya. This is after 2 weeks of processing. Yung kombinasyon mo na doon sa mga vegetables na ipa-fry mo, that will already, shall we say, speak of the price, the cost of your production. Kasi kung medyo mahal ang carrots, damihan mo ang beans. Pag medyo mura ang cabbage, damihan mo ang cabbage. Pag medyo mura ang carrots, damihan mo ang carrots. For 3 vegetables, kasi during when we have processed, is medyo mababa ang presyo ng carrots, and then siguro may bias din kami dito kasi sa tingin namin maganda kasi yung kulay ng carrots. Siya yung magdadala doon sa vegetables. Okay, kaya medyo dadamihan namin yung carrots. Yung French beans, sa kanilang 3 during our processing time is siya yung pinaka-mahal. Kaya siya rin yung pinaka-konti ang nilagay namin. Sa 4 na vegetables, by the way, itong mga slides natin, kombinasyon natin na ito, parang pinapakita lang na ang ating vacuum-fried vegetables is pwedeng individually pack yung mga yan. Pwedeng assorted din naman. Pwedeng 2 vegetables, pwedeng 3 vegetables, pwedeng 4 vegetables. Pwede nyo ring idagdag ang cauliflower. But during our study, hindi po namin napababa yung microbial content ng ating cauliflower. Kahit na yun ang mataas din ang kanyang consumer acceptability. But when we have subjected it to microbial analysis, one of the microorganisms na na-identify doon is medyo mataas siya. And then we were not able to control. Kaya nirecommend na lang namin for further study. Maybe we can add again, we can add more treatments para sa ating cauliflower para mamatay po yung mga microorganisms nandun before frying because we were not able really to reduce the microbial content of our cauliflower. Okay. So, pag 4 naman na vegetables yan, we have carrots, beans, cabbage, and then broccoli. Okay. Ito naman yung kanyang composition. Okay. Pwede ring 3 vegetables with the flavoring. 17% lang ang flavoring na nilalagay namin. Although you can go as high as 30% kung gusto mo na masyadong malakas ang kanyang flavor niya. Considering na ang vegetables is walang masyadong lasa. Okay, kaya sasabihin mo, damihan mo. Okay? Pero maawa pa naman sa ating mga consumers. So we are only recommending around 17%. Okay. Kung pwede mong babaan, pwede pa. Kaso nga lang nung binabaan na natin, halos hindi mo na siya kalasahan. Talking of cost, dalawa kasi there are 2 ways na pwede kang mag-compute, pwede tayong mag-compute. Pwedeng sabihin na natin kasi nga naman hindi basta-basta nabibili ang ating vacuum fryer. So pwede tayong mag-rent ng equipment sa pinakamalapit na merong shared facility na may equipment, may vacuum fryer. So pwede tayong mag-rent sa kanila. Pwede rin nating i-purchase yung ating equipment. Around 1.5 na lang naman or sabihin na nila na aabot na siguro ng 2 million, ma'am, sinasabi nila sa amin yan. Because yung 1.5 is siguro 3 years ago, 4 years ago yung cost ng vacuum fryer. But we hope na mas marami pa ang mag-manufacture para mas marami ang mas anong tawag dito, mumura kasi magkakaroon na ng competition dun sa market. Okay, so in the computation of the selling price, we have factored in the direct materials, the direct labor. Dito is yung average niya kung yung for vegetables is ang A natin when we're going to rent the equipment is yung 50 grams is magiging 150 sabihin mo na ang kanyang cost. Pag purchase yung equipment mo, you'd be able to reduce the cost to 69.25. Pag tatlo lang yung vegetable, pag rented ang ating equipment, 148. Okay? Sabihin mo na din 150. Bumaba ng konti as compared to the 4 vegetables. Okay? Sa plain na carrots, 150 talaga. And then, mas mababa talaga yung pag pinurchase ang equipment. Okay? Pero ang average niya is 66.37. Okay? Pag mag-mark up tayo ng 50 pesos, parang 100 yung 50 grams. Okay? Mahal ba yun or mura? Minsan, nasa positioning lang yan sa market, di ba? Basta sabihin natin kung ano talaga ang advantages ng ating product. Meron tayong tinatawag na niche market. Meron din tayong tinatawag na market share. Okay? Pwede kang babaan mo yung presyo para mas marami pero medyo taasan mo. Taasan mo rin ng konti yung gain mo and ibenta mo doon sa mas may kaya sa buhay. Now, it's now up doon sa manufacturers natin, sa processors natin, kung saan nila ipoposition ang kanilang products. Kasi ito, yung prices na nakalagay dito is 50% ang kanyang markup. Okay, so pwede nyo lang babaan para mas affordable siya. Yan. Ito naman ang projected sales. Kung meron tayong output per batch, 94. And then, production mo is per week. Okay. We are now, ito yung mga projections natin. Maipoproduce mo every week. So, magkakaroon tayo ng 500,000 na ganansya. Ganansya na yun at the end of the year. Okay. We can if pag negosyante tayo, we would know how to, shall we say, play with the cost. Okay. Ang initial na investment is magkakaroon tayo ng 5 million, sabihin na natin. Production facility, yung mga kusina natin, okay. Yung mga kusina, yung kusina natin, the equipment, and then other production equipment. The facility, the area mismo sa ating production facility that ang estimate natin is 3 million. So kung meron kanya yan, 1.5 sabihin na natin yung vacuum fryer, other equipment like the freezer, the spinner, the band sealer, sabihin mo na 400, and then meron kang working capital na cold cash ito, 100,000. Yun ang pambili mo ng mga vegetables mo, yung mga supplies mo na gagamitin para sa inyong processing. So, ang initial na investment cost is 5 million. Okay. So, I'm proud, and this is now our research team. Me as the project leader, we also have Sir Dali Fergano, our accountant, Engineer Rhea Contada, ang ating chemist. Meron din tayong engineer, agricultural engineer, si Sir Tumalhin, si Ma'am Cynthia, pareho nating home economist, and then si Sir Nestor Humiwat, one of our researchers. Okay, yan lang po. Maraming salamat. For more inquiries, please to contact. Nagkakaroon po pala, or kung gusto po nyong mag-attend ng face-to-face training, please do contact me. Okay, kasi para subukan po natin kung pwede kayong maisingit sa ating listahan. Pero ito po ay face-to-face, all expenses paid. Lalong-lalo na kung gusto nyo na pong i-commercialize ang ating technology. Magkakandak kami. Next week, magkakaroon na kami ng first batch ng ating trainees. Mag-start tayo with 15. And we are anticipating 2 to 3 more batches para turuan sila on how to process chop suey chips. Sa mga malapit po sa atin, please get in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bilino and Dr. Jao Sumayden. Nako, I'm sure all of our audience na nanonood ngayon ay talaga namang full of learning and inspiration mula po sa inyong dalawa. Maraming salamat talaga. Bago tayo mag-announce kung anong mangyari for next week episode na very excited din po ako, I would like to remind everyone that the attendance and evaluation link ng ating pong webinar ay matatanggap po ninyo next week. Ayan. So check your email for the link to get your certificate with CPD units po yun. Next week pa po yun kasi hindi pa naman tapos ang ating webinar series. Ayan. So marami pa po tayong pwedeng invite, and mag-register because we were given 4 CPD units for these 2 webinars ng PATESCO in partnership with Benguet State University. And of course, I would like to invite everyone to like, share, and subscribe to Usapang Pantahanan. So, ang Usapang Pantahanan po ay isa naman po ding partner ng PATESCO para ho maibigay namin o impart namin ito pong napaka-importanting webinar, which is the National Nutrition Webinar. Next week, ito naman po ang ating matutunghayan, part 2, another knowledge na naman na sasabi kong napaka ganda sapagkat we're also talking about vegetables, and makakasama po natin next week ang isa sa mga magagaling na faculty din ng Benguet State University, a very accomplished R&D. Ayan, Dr. Imelda Tegay, and she will talk about enhancing value of sayote through product development. And yours truly will talk about the nutritional value of enhancing nutritional value in baking. What are smart substitution for healthier recipes? Para naman po tayo, kahit na medyo restricted on diets, we were able to know what are the good substitutes na pwede nating iluto when it comes to baking. So yan po ang ating episode for next week. Ayan, at sa ngalan po ni Mami Narlene o ni Dr. Yusores, na nasa Amerika ngayon, nais ko pong batiin ang aking partner, and next week she'll be here with us. Ayan, ito po si Dr. Aquino na pansamantalang nagpapaalam sa inyong lahat, and Happy Nutrition Month po sa ating lahat. So, see you next week dito lamang po sa ating National Nutrition Webinar ng PATESCO, ng Philippine Association for Technology and Home Economics of State Colleges and Universities Incorporated in partnership with Benguet State University. See you next week and have a nice weekend. Bye!